to hear me and you are able to see the presentation. Just a quick check before we start with the session. Yeah, I'm really happy for all of you. You could make it here on a Saturday evening. So really happy to see all of you here. And yeah, there are a lot of people on YouTube. There are a lot of people also on, I would say, on LinkedIn Live. So this program is getting feeded across multiple locations as we speak. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick check here before we finally deep dive into the session. All right, so let us yeah, so thanks once again for confirming, everyone. So let us try to understand what this session is all about. What is the purpose of inviting all of you, and what exactly I'm trying to achieve. Now let me first introduce myself. So those of you who don't know me, I do see a lot of people already know me. They already know who am I and what exactly is the work I have been doing in the Agile coaching space. But just a quick introduction in the interest of time. Ashutosh Bhatodekar here, working as an enterprise Agile coach, a consultant, and a transformation agent. I am pretty active now, I can say, on social media. I have a lot of groups on YouTube. Then there's a Telegram community group which helps people to secure jobs. Then there's a meetup community where I am there, Pune Agile Thought Leaders, where you can find me. So if any of you is interested to connect with me on any of these groups, feel free to reach out to me after the session. Of course, as a part of the session deliverable, we would be sending an email to you with the links to all of these groups. I do see many of you have already subscribed to my channel, and I think I've seen the videos, right? I think that's the feedback I get, and I do see some of those people here that I mean, we have watched your videos before our interviews and all. I think I have seen that kind of a feedback coming in from many of you. So really thanks all of you for that good feedback, what all of you have shared about my videos. And yeah, without any further ado, let us kickstart into what this program is all about, right? What is Scrum Master Masterclass all about? And this program, there's some uniqueness about this program. There is something which is very special about this program, which I would like to highlight as we move along during this course, during this particular session. Now, before I go into this program, let me give you some interesting numbers, and these numbers are coming from my experience. So some interesting pointers and some interesting numbers is what I would like to share with all of you. So one of the very interesting numbers which I have collated over the years is that 70% of the resumes which go in for a Scrum Master or an Agile coach position, they are rejected. Okay, so the success rate is very high, and I'm talking it on a conservative basis. Okay, it's at a very, very conservative basis where I'm giving this number. Okay, and what people might think is that, yes, I mean, I have written everything in my resume, but when I go for an interview, when the questions are asked, I'm unable to articulate what exactly does a Scrum Master do. And most of the times I have seen that we tend to articulate something which is more like a project manager role. There's a fundamental difference between what you have been doing so far, or you could be working as a QA manager or a QA lead, or you could be working as a project or a project manager. And when you go for a Scrum Master interview, you try to apply the same set of activities. The only thing what changes in your resume is the title. You just say that you are performing the role of a Scrum Master, but inside that cover, what essentially comes out in articulation is that of a traditional project manager, and the interviewer can easily catch this. Believe me, interviewers are very sharp. They can easily catch this. Within first 15 minutes, they can figure out whether you have really played the role of a Scrum Master, whether you have the practical exposure of working in an Agile engagement, or is it just a traditional project what you have been working on and you're trying to mask it as an Agile project. Okay, so this is one of the very pertinent statistics which I have collated over a period of time. Okay, that's one important observation which I wanted to share. The second observation, many of us, without naming any certification here, think that, okay, you know what, I have done XYZ certification, or I have done ABC certification. Now, all I need is to just go and attend the interview and the job is mine. Unfortunately, no. There are thousands of candidates like you who are certified, believe me. Okay, the churn out ratio of certification is huge. I think we all know this, right? So how do you distinguish yourself from another candidate candidate who's having a similar certificate as yours. That is the crux here, right? It is not about certification. One of the major myths which is propagated is that if I get XYZ certification, or if I just get so and so certification, I will get a job. No, a certification will only tell you that the first letter of alphabet is A, the last letter of alphabet is Z. You have to figure out when the question comes, what is the second letter of alphabet or the third letter, or what comes before D, what comes after F, right? That is, those techniques you have to cultivate over a period of time, right? Certification will not teach you that, okay? The real practical exposure, what you as a Scrum Master is going to get, is something which you can only get into a field when you have worked in a real agile project, right? That's where the second myth is getting propagated, right? That certification equal to job. And many times I get this, right? I mean, the people introduce that I have done so and so certificate. So when I ask this question, why do you think I should hire you? The obvious answer which comes is because I'm certified. I said, no, but that's not a criteria. I mean, everyone is a 10th standard pass. So should I hire everyone in the company, or everyone is a graduate? Should I hire every graduate engineer who's scoring above 75% in their BTech or BE in the company? No, there are certain criteria on which I decide, right, whether to pick up candidate A or candidate B. Coming back to the Scrum Master Agile coaching role, one of the fundamental things we need to understand is that we need to demonstrate a real-time practical exposure. We have to talk the story of our transformation to the interviewer. And again, this is what I've been saying multiple times. It need not be a success story. It can be a failure story also. I don't know how many of you have watched my video on celebrating failure. Do watch that video where I've talked about how as a Scrum Master, you should encourage your team to celebrate failure. Yes, I'm not talking about celebrating success, but I'm talking about celebrating failure. So as a Scrum Master, how do I bring about a culture of celebrating failure? So yes, things may not, it is not always a sugar-coated kind of a Bollywood or a Hollywood movie, right? That everything is fine at the end of a transformation. No, there could be some critical learnings for me as a Scrum Master, which I have learned from that engagement, which will be my story. Although it is not a success story, it is my failure story, which I'm carrying forward ahead. I'm sure interviewers will appreciate that. At least I appreciate when people talk about things that this is what we tried, but we miserably failed in this endeavor. Okay, so that's the second myth which I wanted to burst. The third myth, tools is equal to Jira. Tools is equal to Jira is equal to Rally is equal to Agile. Come on, just knowing the tool is not going to make you a Scrum Master. I think I've told this multiple times in conferences and events. Tool is just going to automate your job. Whatever you're going to write on a piece of paper or on, let us say, Word or an Excel, the tool is just going to automate that for you. I always believe in this adage, a fool with a tool will always remain a fool. So just because I learn some tool is not going to make me an agile expert. In fact, it is a wrong notion again being propagated that you do a two-day tool training and you will become an agile coach or a Scrum Master. No, it is just going to automate your repetitive task. That's it. Earlier, I used to knead the flour by hand. Now I have this food processor which is doing the kneading for me. But if I don't pour the correct water into the flour, into the dry flour, if I don't pour salt, the flour is going to taste bad, right? That is where my skill as a kitchen person comes in, right? The machine, the food processor is just going to blend it within probably few seconds, which a normal hand could be taking minutes to knead that dough, right? So that is another important thing. That tool is not equal to agile, right? That is a myth, tool is equal to agile. Many of us have fallen into that myth that, okay, if I learn so and so tool, I will get benefit out of it, which is not correct again. The fourth one, okay, rat race, right? My friend did this and he got a very good job. So even I will do this course and go. No, your aptitude could not be for a Scrum Master. Your aptitude could be more for a role of a product owner, right? I mean, who says everyone has to be a Scrum Master or an Agile coach? I could still be applying Agile practices in my traditional world. I could still continue to be a project manager. Not necessarily I will have to go after the glamorous designation of an Agile coach, that because 100 people have gone and succeeded, I will be the 101st person. No, this is something what you will have to do, right? So many times I've seen people blindly going into a certification class because either they're pulled on by their friends, or there's a peer pressure which builds up. Oh my God, this person is a Scrum Master. Now even I should be a Scrum Master, right? Why can't I be the Scrum Master? It's like saying everyone wants to aspire to be a president or a prime minister of a country, which is not going to happen, right? I mean, that's a fourth myth which I wanted to bust here. And fifth, and the most important one, I've just listed down the top 5. There are many such myths around this role. Uh, Memorize, cramming something. Very interesting observation from one of the interviews. This person knew Scrum Guide by heart. The person who came for an interview, 13-pager, 14-pager document, this person had crammed it. But when I asked him the contextual part of it, this person was unable to answer. He knew the four values of the Agile Manifesto and the 12 principles by heart, verbatim. Okay, which probably even I will falter today. But when I asked him, okay, how did you apply principle number 6 into a COVID-like situation? He was clueless. This person was totally clueless. So don't cram something. You need, as I said, again, repeating for point number 1, you need to demonstrate a real-time coaching experience. You need to demonstrate a real-time transformation story to the interviewer. Okay, only then it is going to cut ice. Otherwise, believe me, it will be a waste of effort for you. It will be a frustration for you as to why I'm not getting selected. I mean, even after my resume has been shortlisted, I'm able to clear the first round, but second round or the third round is where I'm faltering always. Believe me, the story is going to be repeated again and again. So let me pause here for a moment and let me ask people here in the chat box. You can also anonymously type that chat to me. You get a public chat. If you want to one-on-one do a chat with me, that's fine. Have you ever faced any of this situation in your interview journey? Have you ever encountered these situations or somewhat different situations? I will just pause for a moment to understand from each one of you before we continue with this session. Yeah, anyone, I mean, who has faced this situation? Okay. You have faced this situation. I think I see people saying yes. Many of them are saying yes. Okay, they have faced this situation is what I'm seeing here. Okay, interesting. Who else? Okay, so I see people saying, okay, let me also see on the other platforms. Let me also see on other platforms what exactly are people talking about as we move along. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think I'm getting a overwhelming yes. Okay. I'm getting a overwhelming yes from majority of the people. Okay. That is what I'm getting overwhelming here as a yes. Okay. Great. Great to see that. Okay. 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 Yeah. Nice. I'm just reading some of the comments before we move ahead. Okay. I'm just reading a few of the comments as they're coming up so that we understand that we are talking about it in the right sense. Okay. So I'm just going ahead and seeing it. Okay, great. Okay, so great to have that. Okay, great to have these comments. Okay, lot of job postings. Okay, yeah, so I'll take it individually. I mean, I'll be taking those questions individually also towards the end of this, like what exactly this is all about and why it is, I mean, why the industry is moving in that model, right? Because as I said, right, you need to have experience project, you need to have experienced Scrum Masters, right? The Scrum Masters which are there, they need to be experienced Scrum Masters which are there. Okay, so that's what we need to understand. Okay, so the experienced Scrum Masters are the ones which are required there. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, let us resume then. Let us continue with our discussion. So now coming to this masterclass, what is this masterclass all about, right? And what is the significance of this masterclass, right? What exactly this masterclass entails, what it is all about. Let us try to understand this. Now that we know that this is a problem statement, or now that we know that this is an issue what we are having, so let us try to understand what is this masterclass all about. So first of all, this is an experiential learning session. Okay, it is not a theoretical session. It's a completely experiential learning session where we walk through a real-time industry case study. So what happens in this session is predominantly that we walk you through a real-time industry case study, and you solve it in a group of people. Okay, so you solve it in a cohort. We call it as a cohort. So what is a cohort? A cohort is where a group of people come together, they form a group, and they work towards that resolution. Okay, they work towards resolving it. So that's what is a cohort, what we call. So we form a cohort, we form a group of people who come in together, and then these group people, when they come together, then they form basically a working agreement amongst themselves, right? So this is one important thing of what we have. So it's not a theoretical program. Okay, it's not a theoretical program. It's a real industry case study where you actually work as a Scrum Master. One of you takes the role of a Scrum Master, one of you takes the role of a product owner, few of your team members, few of you are playing the role of an architect. So that's what we do as a part of this course. And we walk through an entire case study through this program. So it is not about theoretical things what you learn in any of the program, that okay, tell me what is a duration of a daily scrum, or what should be the ideal duration of a sprint review or a sprint retrospective. No, you have to actually do a retrospective in a group of people. Okay, you have to actually go ahead and do a retrospective, and you have to place the action items on the board. You have to actually do a prioritization through the product backlog prioritization. You actually go into a backlog refinement meeting, and you work towards resolving you work towards making sure that the definition of ready and the definition of done are captured, and they are actually being implemented in an agile engagement. So what I'm trying to tell here is that it's not a theoretical program. First of all, it's a complete cohort where whoever enrolls, let's say 4 or 5 people enroll, they get a real experience. They get a real experience of a agile engagement right from day one to day end. So let me show you some of the case studies. Okay, let me show you some of the exercises what we do as a part of this, and let me open it up here for you so that we understand that what exactly we are talking about here. Okay, so I'm just opening up an exercise to make you aware what exactly this cohort program is all about. And here comes the exercises. Yeah. So if you look at this exercise, and it will just come on your screen in a moment. Okay, so this is one of the exercises we had done, right? Let us say your team is developing this product, which is a Toyota Connect application. These are the features. Identify the personas for this. Identify the personas with a photograph, with their demographic profile. What are the problems faced currently by the users? Any new feature which you suggest for the persona? So those are the things what we talk about, or those are the things what the team members will have to do. So they will have to write this down. They will have to write this down, and they will have to create a persona out of it. Okay, so that's a persona which you will be creating. So these are just 2 personas which are there. We can also have more personas which are there. The same case study continues ahead. And if you look at this case study as you move along, it will ask you to do a prioritization exercise. So once the features have been created for this product, you do a real-time prioritization exercise through the Moscow model. Must have requirement, should have requirement, could have requirement, and won't have requirement. So this is the actual prioritization exercise what you would be doing in a cohort, again, in a group of people coming together, and you will be doing this exercise. The next piece is where I think many of us struggle, but we do have a hand holding. You have to break down these features into user stories. So one feature like convenience of assisted navigation is a feature. You will break it down into user stories. So you will create multiple user stories. For each feature, you will be creating multiple user stories. Okay, so you will be creating your product backlog. Once the user stories have been created, you will actually go ahead and prioritize it in a product backlog. So here the role of a product owner, whosoever is playing the role of a product owner in a cohort, is very, very vital and very, very important here, right? Because this person has to apply the prioritization technique. Then we are actually going to size the stories using either a planning poker or a board. Like here, if you see, this is a t-shirt sizing, what we have done: very small, small, medium, large, very large. And we are going to give a relative estimation using a story point technique. So we will be using a story point estimation technique, and we will be trying to size these stories into our backlog, right? So it's a real, as you can see, it's assuming that you are in a real project, you are working on this entire journey or this entire exercise, right? And then you are going to come out with a release board. Which things you will pick up in the sprint 1, stories you're going to pick up in sprint 2, which stories you're going to pick up in sprint 3, assuming obviously taking into account the MSCI requirement, must have requirement, should have, could have, and won't have. So I'm just walking you through this entire journey, this entire experiential learning. We actually do a sprint simulation, which is we try to actually show you how a burn down chart of this will be working, right? So if this sprint were to execute, let us say from upcoming Monday for a 2-week period, that is the Friday of the next week, how the burn down chart is shaping. So we have this very interesting dice game which we play, and we try to see how many of the backlog items have we really completed. And we actually simulate a daily Scrum event. We do a daily Scrum event that, okay, today is the end of day 1. So as a Scrum Master, please facilitate a daily Scrum. Ask those questions for every team members, right? If there are any blockers or impediments, you have to raise those blockers or impediments into the blockage chart or the blocker area, right? So that's a real simulation, what we ask the Scrum Masters to actually do it, right? So what I'm trying to tell here is that, as you would have seen, I'm not sure if you have seen such a program before, you might have seen someone else would also be doing it. But what I'm trying to tell here is that it's a real-time experiential learning. It is not a theoretical session at all. In fact, I would hardly be covering slides probably for a very lesser period during the day, is what you would be finding. And yes, I mean, this is just one of the case studies which I showed you. There are many case studies which we can work, or as a team, if you want to pick up any other case study also, that is absolutely fine. I mean, if let's say all of you, let's say a cohort has got people from the pharmaceutical industry, they might want to pick up a case study which is more like, let us say, a kind of a pharmaceutical case study which is there. So there are multiple case studies, right? There are multiple case studies which we have, and which we will be walking through, okay, which will be walking through this entire journey. What I'm trying to tell here is that this is completely something which you will explore. This is not something which has to be taught. This is something which has to be explored and learned from each other, is what you will be doing. And you will be actually be exposed to a tool called Rally. Has anyone worked on Rally tool? Has anyone worked on the Rally tool by any chance? So we actually cover a Rally tool as a part of this journey, where you actually go ahead and do all this in Rally. So Rally is also one of the very popular tools which is used. But again, I'm going to limit the usage of Rally. Okay, again, because obviously Rally, I mean, it will be Rally tool will be used, but it will be used to a limited extent to create your backlog. So I'm just trying to enter into Rally for a moment. And you will also come to know the various reports which can be generated, right? Various matrix and reports which can be generated from this tool. Okay, so this is a Rally tool where you can actually create a sprint. Of course, I have not created a sprint right now, but you can go ahead and create a sprint, and you can track your responses here, right? So this entire case study, what you're going to work upon, is going to be worked in a tool. Either you will be using a Rally tool, or we could be using a Miro tool or a Miro software also in order to create this tool. And the whole idea is that you get a real-time simulation of the backlog. The intention here is that you should be getting a real-time simulation of the backlog. So basically your backlog, the backlog what you are going to create, it is like working in a real-time project in that entire journey of cohort. Also, one more interesting thing is that even if the class gets over, let us say, and you as a cohort will like to meet up again, we facilitate that meeting also. We also facilitate that meeting. You can come back together, you can discuss. See, it creates a bonding also. So if people want, if people find that, okay, we have those complementary skills in a cohort. So cohort is like a scrum team for this entire training program which is there. So if you want to network amongst yourself, or you come to know a job where you think that your cohort team member is a one who can actually be the best fit for it, then go ahead and create that bonding, right? And help each other. So this also gives a kind of a sense of a bonding around it. Apart from this, yes, you will run the practical aspect. You will also get the slide pack. Okay, although I'm not going to cover that slide pack in this training program, but you will get a slide pack of almost 300 slides explaining the key agile concepts, whether it is Scrum, whether it is Kanban. We also have a Kanban game. We also play a Kanban game as a part of this cohort which is there. So what I wanted to tell you was that this is a unique program. This is a unique experiential learning program which is available. Do benefit from it. If you find any worth in it, do try to get benefited out of it. I'm happy to talk more about this program as we go along this journey. Rather than me talking now, I think I will open up the floor for the questions if anyone has. I have a date planned for this program. You can have a look at this link. You will come to know the date for this program. It is planned 2 weeks from now. And now what I will do is I will open the floor in case anyone has got any questions around it. Okay, yeah, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Meanwhile, you can do subscribe to our groups, especially our YouTube channel. We have almost 95 plus videos there to help you grow in your career. Yeah. So anyone, any questions on this program, what I have just talked about it, or what exactly we are trying to achieve here through this program? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Ashutosh, it's a total of 2 weeks program, right? Hello.
Hello, sorry, I think Radhika, I lost you. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, it's a total of 2 weeks program, right?
Hello.
Hello, you're
Yeah, hello. I think there's some audio problem. Can you repeat your question? Sorry. Hello.
Hello. I think I have some problem with my audio. So type the question. So it's a total of 2 weeks program, right?
No, it is not a 2 week. It's a 2 full day program.
2 full day program. Sorry. Okay, I got it
yes,
wrong.
Yes. Yeah. It's a 2 full day program. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone, any questions? Feel free to ask here. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Yeah, anyone, any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask. I mean, of course, I'm available for any queries. Okay, if you have any queries, feel free to connect with me. I'll also share my WhatsApp number with you all. So in case you would like to connect with me on WhatsApp, feel free to connect with me on WhatsApp and I'll be more than happy to connect. Anyone, any questions? Please feel free to ask here. You can unmute yourself.
Sir, it is only a 2-day program. We will be flexible by 2 days. That is, can we learn the full Scrum Master tools within 2 days?
So it is again what I'm saying is, I think you didn't hear me what I said. Even after this program, you can meet as a cohort. You can continue to meet as a cohort and you can continue to explore more tools. The platform is yours. It will be available to you. It depends on whether as a group, when you come together, are you willing to meet together or not? So yes, I mean, the program is for 2 days, but believe me, 2 days is enough. I see, again, I'm not claiming that you will learn all the tools, but you will definitely learn how in reality an agile project is executed from ground zero till the end. How the project gets executed, you are definitely going to learn in that 2 days is what I can definitely tell you. Okay, yeah. Any other question? I hope I answered your question. Hello, can you all hear me? Hello, are you all able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Okay.
Well, I
anyone
have a
else?
question. I have a question. My question is, I work in a support role for somebody who's into technical support. How will they get a exposure to, practice Scrum? Because it is nearly next to impossible in such scenario. Thank you.
So, no. Are you asking in the real world or are you asking in this program?
Real world.
See, real world, obviously you have to convince the interviewer. I mean, if you have that, so obviously you are here because you are looking for a Scrum Master role, right? I mean, that is what you're looking for, right? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? So what I'm saying is, in a real world, you will have to definitely convince the person. Initially, it might be a small step what you will take. But over a period of time, when you apply these techniques in a real world, definitely you will learn about it. And see, you told me that you're working in a support world, right? Have you applied Kanban there? Just a curious out of curiosity, I'm asking you this question. Have you applied Kanban in that engagement? Have you tried applying Kanban? So try applying Kanban. That is also one of the agile ways of working, where you can actually handle support tickets using the Kanban approach. That is how I would put it. Okay. Any other question? Any other question anyone has? No. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so as I said, if you have any other questions, do reach out to me one-on-one. Okay, I have shared my number. I'm available on WhatsApp. Do reach out to me one-on-one. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm sure you will learn a lot of things. And obviously, subscription for YouTube channel is free. There is no money for it. So do subscribe and watch my videos. And if you are interested in my LinkedIn group, do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to connect with you. So on that note, I think we are good to close this session. So once again, thanks. Yeah, anyone, any questions? Sorry.
Yes, sir. Sorry. It was me. I'm sorry. I was listening to you. I was unfortunately stuck in traffic. So sorry for that. I had to just park my bike. But okay, my question is, I am somebody who's already, I work as a technical support analyst. Okay, I'm like, this is becoming a big confusion for me, to be honest. I work as a technical support analyst, fairly doing good in my job. I did my CSM certification. I completed it. I passed it.
Yeah, I think I'm losing you in between. Sorry, I think I'm losing you in between. Maybe what you can do is you can reach out to me one-on-one. I'll be more than happy to answer your question if that is okay.
Sure, sir. No worries. I'll reach out to you. Can you please share your contact number in the chat if you don't mind?
It will come. I've already shared it.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, any other question? Yeah, I think people want a link. So I'm sending you the program link once again. The program link has got all the details. I mean, whatever details you're looking for, the program link has got all the details. So I'm sharing the program link with all of you. Do reach out to me one-on-one if there are any questions, right? If there are any questions, do reach out to me one-on-one. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So on that note, I think we are good to close this session. Thanks a lot and have a great evening ahead. And thanks once again for joining this session. Thank you.